Hey, what's going on, DBI? It's Riz here, and this is going to be a roleplay review over two of Koshoro's logs that he did, and I'm pulling them up now so I can get the proper names for them because I forgot that quickly. It's like as soon as I hit record, I forgot. Right, Tiger Springs. Tiger Springs Valentine and Tiger Springs A Peaceful Climb. So as our last review of Ko, he kind of had just recovered from the events at Pineapple Cove and was being sent off by the EDF to go hunt down the wolf. And that path is taking him to an unnamed place that we're now going to call Nova's Training Sanctuary. Not to Odayakana, but Nova's Training Sanctuary. And that path he comes upon is at the base of the Zubri Mountains. There comes a fork in the road where he can either take the path along the mountain to get to Nova's training sanctuary, or he can continue up the path to a hot spring and eventually make his way to Oda Yakana. For some unknown reason, don't know why anybody would be going to Oda Yakana, but that's where he's kind of going, and that's where Peaceful Climb starts off. And this is, as it says, is just very atmospheric, and we kind of get a little sense of what's going on with the character. And like I said in the last review, Ko's really kind of embracing his Saiyan side of himself and kind of embracing the fact that he is enjoying himself for the first time that we've really ever seen on page. And since his inception as a character, Ko's been very dour and very serious, and everything's always just been bad. And the only times we've ever seen him kind of break out of that shell is when we've had any kind of either flashback or interaction with his older brother or with his family. Um, and so now he's kind of just, I want to say, like living life and embracing. I won't say embracing his destiny because that sounds really generic, but he's embracing the life that is before him, kind of accepting that he's no longer just a regular person. He is kind of becoming somewhat of the hero archetype. He's putting himself in dangerous situations, these supernatural situations that no other person should ever have to deal with in their entire life. And he's kind of going from one to another. But he's enjoying it. He's embracing his power. Uh, and between these two logs, I will say this: Koshiro puts off more electricity than a thunderstorm. Um, I swear to God, like in the other one, like a woman looked at him and lightning like arced across his eyebrow. Like the dude is like a billion energizer batteries just waiting to erupt and explode. And at this point, it's just kind of funny the way that like literally everything he does, there's lightning arcing off of this dude. Um, but in the first log, I mean, he's just climbing and he's kind of understanding that he's stepping into the ascended space, but he doesn't really know how to navigate that space. Like he knows that he's strong, but he even says, in Pineapple Cove, I was in constant danger. If I messed up, it meant either the dolls, Greg, Genesis, or I were dead. There wasn't any room for failure. But now, and what he's doing is that he's trying to use his power. And kind of what he was saying in that line is that he was always in this heightened sense of like, I can't revert back, right? Like he was always Gohan flying at that mountain at all times. And so he was always kind of snapped, he was always kind of ready, but now he's in a state of calm. He's trying to learn how to then summon that supernatural strength when he needs it to do these great feats, which I think is a very good approach to tier one. Because just because you are tier one and yes, you can do all of these great superhero like things, knowing how to do it, when to do it, knowing that your character can't always do it, or they have to learn how to always do it, is a really good training bit. Even if it's not physically training, like the mentality of it makes sense, and I love that. And then there's another line where he says, "Strength should come as natural as breathing," um, which is true, right? Like he should be able to do this on command, as one would do if they were breathing. So there's just some really good character, excuse me, really good character development in this very short log of I mean, he breaks it up so much it's hard to say, but there's really like 7 or 8 actual posts here. Um, so yeah, he kind of walks up this mountain, gets there. You know, he has to rip this tree from blocking his path. He gets to the hot spring, and then that takes us over to the next log, to where it's Tiger Springs Valentine, and he then runs into this other half breed woman named Tamayo. I think that's how. I mean, in Japanese it would be Tamayo, and they have this like very cute flirting exchange at the beginning. You know, it's kind of like guy orders a girl a drink, kind of that's his icebreaker. That's his way in. Um, she looks at him as like, damn, he fine. And he is looking at her, and again, he looks at her, he's just like, bzz, like, damn, she fine. And what I loved about this character, this reporter who is on her way, who's also answering the call of Nova, is that she's very learned in the ways of the Empire, because she is technically an Imperial without being a Nigelian native, without being, right, like Haitian or anything like that. She's just from a planet that was a part of the Empire. And that's all we really need to know. And it kind of, in a way, paints the Empire almost in a different light, because the only thing that we know of empires really is from our actual real life history. When I think of it, I think of like Great Britain, right? Like they took over the whole damn world without constantly being there. There were people on these islands who were living a very bad life. And then Britain comes in and says, hey, we're going to make it better. But they just made it better from themselves and they left. But for some people there, right, it did get a little bit better. And I know, ironic coming from me to say some stuff like that, but uh, there would be some planets that really did benefit from the Iserian Empire coming in, doing whatever they had to do. And in my head canon, she comes from a planet where maybe they had great natural resources, but the people there didn't have the means to turn a profit on it, right? They either didn't have the technology to mine it, or the technology to process it, or they didn't have a buyer even, or other people. So the Empire rolls in, says, hey, we're going to protect you. We're going to, we're going to put you guys to work. We're going to change your life. We're also going to mine the shit out of whatever resource we're here for. But your lives will be better. And if you were living as cavemen before, welcome to starships and blasters. And maybe this half breed woman is from a planet like that. I mean, the half breeds they're more broken up than their full blooded Saiyan cousins, to where they don't really have a people, they don't have a home planet, so they probably are in these little pods or clans, and they're just living together. So if you're scraping a living off rocks and somebody comes in and says, hey, like, here's 6 billion zenny, and you're like, what the fuck's a zenny? It's like, oh, you can, here's here's an economy. This is what the modern age looks like. um yeah, I mean, you would consider yourself an imperial without knowing that, you know those warships could then turn on you the second you say, like, hey, we don't want you here. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that having that be her background kind of was cool. And then the other thing that was really neat about her is that she calls herself a reporter, but she's really a historian, because she knows some stuff that's over 500 years old, right? Like she talks about my character Ragnos a lot and the his impact on Nig Yellow. Um, but that was over 500 years ago, and that it would carry so much weight the way that she speaks of it. I mean, she says that, he opened the doors to the Empire and the wider verse, and the Nine Hells battle arena that we did all those years ago brought fighters in from across the galaxy. And the one thing that I absolutely loved was, I'm trying to find it. Cause God, what did she say? She basically said like maybe the Empire isn't as strong as it thinks it is, right? And so this girl, like you can clearly tell, like from the way that she studied history, she knows her stuff. She's recanting tales about how like the actual verse was changed, and you don't waste knowledge on that, or sorry, you don't waste knowledge like that on throwaway characters. You just don't. You don't have somebody who speaks about such heavy things and then we never see and hear from them again. So right away I knew, I was like, okay, so this girl is going to be something. On top of that, Nova's message only went to martial artists, to warriors, to people basically who are tier 0 or higher. Uh, so really, there should be people walking around saying like, "Hey, did you get that message to go train?" And they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Right? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Nova's training sanctuary, um, and not Oda Yakana. I'm gonna go to Nova's training sanctuary, and people are just like, "What? How? When did this? Like, where are you going?" Like, "Oh, I'm going to try to survive in the Zubri Mountains." Like, why the hell would you try to do that? Right? There should be people who just have no idea because they didn't get the message. It was not meant for them. So she gets the message. She knows a lot about history and about fighting and kind of how these type of warriors changed the course of the verse, and then we come to find out, yeah, she's been trained. She knows basic katas. So her and Ko are kind of having this back and forth, and they're just kind of talking, kind of feeling each other out, kind of flirting, but not too much. And yeah, Ko then comes to find out that yeah, you're more than just a reporter, and you're here for more than just seeing what's going on at these training grounds. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really interesting. It was a really interesting way of kind of introducing another possible NPC that's going to be running around here, for other people to interact with and other people to deal with. Um, and then my favorite part of this entire log, just comes right towards the end. Our boy got laid. Our boy Ko got laid, and that's just c'est magnifique. I'm so proud of him. Good for you, buddy. And then it kind of just ends with like, yeah, they had this one night stand, kind of like nothing too serious, and then Ko starts to make his way now to Nova's training sanctuary, and I have a feeling we're gonna run into her again. I have a feeling that we are definitely going to see her in like a regular cast of characters. And if Ike doesn't want to do it, I will definitely take over the reins of this character, because I really like her. I really like her setup, um, and already have a couple of ideas of how to approach her. Um, but yeah, good job, Co. Welcome. From what I know, and I'm a little behind on the logs and even the reviews that Ike has done, but from what I know, there isn't anybody else who's as close as Koshiro is to getting to the sanctuary. Um, so you'd be the first, and that would be pretty interesting and pretty fitting. I am gonna probably do another video today talking about this arc that's coming up and kind of how we can approach it, and more things like that. But I just want to wrap this up because this is about Ko and it's going on for 15 minutes. So I will see you guys next time.